And what makes it worse, honey? It's the fact that my little sister was standing there going like this, like, we're pregnant. And I'm sitting there going, oh no. And she's like, we're so happy. We're having a baby. And I hope it's a girl. And I'm going, oh, I want to scream. I remember not sleeping. I promise I'll be on full bed rest. And for sure, Janet, this child made sure I was on bed rest. This child, I would need to be escorted because I would faint. So now I've got this worry on my head, like, are we going to make it? This constant, and is this child going to be normal? And I'm not going to be able to breastfeed my baby, and I breastfed the other one. Suddenly all the issues are different. But I'm also grieving, and I'm also depressed. And the reality is here, right? You're grappling with so many things. You're thinking of the finances, you're thinking of the baby, you're thinking of your relationship. There's so many things going on in real life that people, and then remember, I can't tell people I'm HIV positive. I remember when I went to buy the medication, when I had to start taking from 6 months, screaming at my mom to get out of the pharmacy because she was invading my medical privacy, because I didn't need her to know that I was HIV positive. I didn't need her to know what medication I needed to take, right? Tell me your pregnancy journey. We've been tell me, please. I want to hear, because we have some parallels, right? You got pregnant just after your mom had passed away as well. Yeah. So again, you went through pregnancy during a time that was grieving.
Yeah.
You didn't even realize it until I pointed it out the other day, just for the record.
Very true. I think it's one of those things where I processed that my mom wasn't there, and I would talk about it, but I never gave it the label grief, So you just putting it out there, it actually then just like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Because so with my daughter, my first pregnancy, we tried for a little bit before we could actually fall pregnant. And then eventually when we did, we were excited, and I was actually looking forward to getting the morning sickness because it's expected, and I was looking forward to this and that, and the things that they talk about pregnancy. But didn't I just get it amped up? So
Janet, before you get into the problems, the issues with pregnancy, just take a step back and tell us what it felt like to be trying. Because you expected that straight after you got married, you've been dating this guy for 6 years. Now that we've decided to get pregnant, and it doesn't happen. I think it's so important that you talk about that, because there are a lot of infertility issues that people are afraid to bring up.
Definitely. So we were trying. Here we are. We're like, okay, guys, we're done getting to know each other. So let's have a baby already, And here you're thinking, okay, it's just going to happen, because how many people are like, oh, I'm pregnant by mistake, and then you're thinking, so when you're doing it the right way, it should just happen, but it didn't. And we ended up going to our doctor and talking to them and asking them, look, we need help. And I was high strung, I was stressed. We were given things to do. Okay, you have to count the days when things are like this. You're intimate on this day, and then you jump one, and then you try the next, and then things like that. And then, so, and it was actually stressful. And then I had put on a little bit of weight because, now you've come from, you've settled into the work environment. You eat at your desk. There's very little exercise and things like, oh, you've got too much weight. So I had actually started exercising. Like where we lived and where I worked, they weren't very, very far apart. I could actually walk to work. I think it's about 2 kilometers or so, or 3. So I could walk to work, and I had actually done that. I'd taken it upon myself. I would wake up every morning and I would walk to work. So that was me trying to prepare for the process of pregnancy.
Baby, yeah.
But I got to a point where I felt so dejected that I was like, okay, you know what? I'm not even going to bother. Let me just take this falling pregnant idea out of my mind, live my life, If it doesn't happen, that's it. If it does, yay! So then I got pregnant. Yay! And I got pregnant in like my birthday month. This was like a week before my birthday. And I just felt odd. And I was like, let me take a test. Then I took the test and then I was like, oh, I'm pregnant. I ran to my husband, baby, oh, I'm pregnant. And I think for him, he was like, whew, because that other process.
He's just like, oh Lord, this woman was chasing after me with a temperature, with the thermometer going, now you take off those medicines.
Yes. And truth be told, that is exactly how I was like, babe, we've got to do the thing, okay, like right now. And then it became so mechanical. It became so with like it was work, But we got pregnant and I was excited. So this was in September. And now it being in September, it was one of those things where I was slowly, and it's like when it clicks in your head that you're pregnant, it's like triggers many other things, suddenly, oh, okay, now I'm feeling, the nausea. It makes you more attuned to things that you weren't feeling before. So I start getting the nausea, and then I start to vomit, and suddenly I can't cook anymore. I just bought this garlic and whatever curry powder, and I loved it, and I'm using it to cook. And then one day I put it in the food. I like literally threw out the whole pot because it stank. It stank to high heaven. I was like, nope, we're not eating this. And slowly, my ability to cook started to go away. And I had to have my friend come over and cook for us for a couple of days, because smelling food cooked would literally just have me like on the toilet, like, kind of situation, And I couldn't eat food when it was hot. I had to wait for it to cool down, and I couldn't eat soup. I just had to stop that altogether. So it was hard. And for like the whole month of November, I was put on sick leave because I just couldn't be anywhere, and I couldn't drink water as well. Then I remember going for my checkup, and I had motion sickness. I didn't tell you about this one, but I had bad motion sickness. It was so bad. So there was this cab man, because we didn't have a car, there was this cab man I would call, come and get me so you can take me to the hospital. And I'd be like, we're late, so please be quick, but please drive slowly.
Okay. It must have been like,
but you know what? He was like the best man. To this day, he's like a personal family person for us, because he was there through the first one, he was there through the second one, and he understood what it was that I was going through. So he was very patient, So I went to my doctor's appointment, and then he was like, so this is by Medical Center along Baines Avenue. He's like, yeah, you can just go downstairs and take a walk to Baines Maternity. Just check yourself in there. I'm following. I'm like, what? He's like,
what?
Yeah, just go. I'm coming. Because I was so done. I was spent. I was done. I had no energy. I had nothing. I had no fluids in my body. I had no food in my body. Everything was just hard. So I went and I checked myself in, and I was in there for like 3 days on a drip, all the 3 days. That was my first pregnancy. The lucky thing about the first pregnancy was, once I got to the 5th, 6th month, it got better, and all of the nausea and stuff started to wane off. But what remained, and in the earlier days, I had to take Finnegan like 3 times a day so that I wouldn't vomit. And this was like a very consistent narrative throughout both my pregnancies. But with the first one, at least by 6 months, I could drop it, and I was able to live my life. But I would only vomit if I ate food at home.
So it was psychological.
I don't know what it was. If I ate at home, I would feel sick and I would vomit. If I ate at a friend's house or out, I would be fine. So we literally had an everyday thing where we'd be like, so where are we eating today?
Wow.
Yeah.
You became those people that people would close the gate when you were coming.
We became those people?
But I get.
Tell her we're not here. we actually had like go-to people, like specific people who at least, I'm so thankful for that support system, who understood. They knew, could, okay, so every once in a while these two are here. And once the baby was born, we opened up our doors in our home very freely, to those people. We're like, please come whenever, however, just come. Yeah, but and so with the first pregnancy, it wasn't as difficult. And even after she was born, she wasn't a difficult baby. She was awesome. I think the only biggest challenge that I had was I had hypertension after the baby was born, not during the pregnancy, but after the baby was born. And my mom wasn't there. I had lots of questions, and there were things that didn't make sense to me. But my mom-in-law was so awesome. She came and she spent like the first couple of months, like 2 or so months with me, and she helped me through that process. The biggest struggle I had was the transition of going back to work, being a new mom. To start off with, I mean, the first helper that I got, can you handle? She would leave the baby in the house. She knew the times that I would come back home. We was living at a flat in the avenues. She would leave the baby in the house and she'd go places. So we discovered that that's what she was doing when my dad went to drop something off at home, right?
And she wasn't there.
She wasn't there, and the baby was inside by herself. And I knew
Right.
she was asleep. But I figured that there was something that was severely wrong, because many times I would get home and I'd find the TV volume way high, right? Like super high. And my daughter had this 2-in-1 blanket that we used to put under her, and I noticed that it started to have rough patches, like maybe she's vomited or something that would then just dry up. And that never happened when I was at home, So that was one of the biggest struggles I had. I had, and the work expectations never changed. The judgment was the worst. Oh, you know what? You want to make it seem like you're the first person to have a child while you're working. No, you're not. Get it together. You need to bring your A game. Look, so and so. So I actually had a child at the same time with another male colleague.
And male. Whoa, how wonderful. Yeah. He's not breastfeeding. He's not pumping. His breasts don't get engorged.
He rose up. Yeah. But anyway, you know what?
Because it was his wife who was looking after the children.
Exactly. So, and those were our first babies as well. So it was like a really, really difficult transition. And here I am also trying to make sure that my relationship is also functional. Like we disconnected a lot during that time with my husband. And it was hard. At the same time, perfectionism was the order of the day for my baby. Her clothes had to be a certain way. I had to do her bottles myself. Then I was doing the pumping, the expressing. And I hand expressed because the breast pumps were not okay for me. And I couldn't do the manual pump. So I just used to use my hands. I'd wake up early in the morning, 5 a.m. to make sure.
You were milking yourself.
I was milking me, girl. I was milking. So I'd wake up at 5 a.m. to make sure that was set. And all throughout the day, I have to be expressing. At work, I'm expressing. Everywhere, I'm expressing. I get home, I have to feed her, and then I cook dinner, right? Cook dinner. After I finish cooking dinner, I have to bath her because I'm not spending the entire day with you. So the only time that I can actually examine that you're okay is when I'm bathing you. So I have to bath her, make sure she's fine. I'm feeding her, I feed her, then I put her to sleep. By that time, I'm bushed. I'm feeding her to sleep, so she sleeps and I sleep too. That was just how it was. And a lot of the times I would go to bed without eating supper because I was tired, Yeah. Then probably I know that there's laundry that needs to be done. I'm waking up at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. to make sure that the laundry is done. At least if I can just leave it in the buckets, then the helper will put it on the washing line, but we keep it moving. And that was my life. Up until she turned at least 2 years old or 2.5, I was still doing her laundry, And it would be huge. Like, at some point I'll do it during the week. At some point it'll be too much. Then I'll do it like on a Sunday, on the weekend, the one day that I didn't have anything else to do. Because on Saturday we go to church, so I can't do that. We're Seventh-day Adventists, you know. So it was a really, really difficult time. So as I'm going through all of this, then she's getting to a point where I'm like, dude, let go. You know, stop the laundry. Just stop. And I did. And then at some point I was like, oh, okay. An awakening came and I was like, she's going to play group. Because at like 1 year, 6 months, I was like, get out of the house, go and do play group, interact with other kids. And she was already a talker by then. Like, she could have a conversation.
A conversation.
Yeah. Because she started talking at 8 months, right? And I got home from work one time and then she says, Mommy, this is my tongue. And I was like, who told you that? She was like, Auntie told me. And I was like, no, it's time for you to get out, playgroup. This is what we're doing. You know, there's no value of you staying in the house. So we moved her into the playgroup situation, and you could just see she was blossoming, the independence and everything was just unfolding, right? And I was like, okay, it's time to do me. So at this point, I already had this drawing, this calling to do this thing, like what we're doing right now, you know, to tell people about all of the stuff that I went through, the things I didn't find, the things that I did find, let you know, good, okay, you know what, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. We've done it, you know? Anyway, so I'm excited and I'm like, there's a master's program at Africa University, Child and Family Studies. I want to do that. So the first time when I applied, things went bad and the application process got fumbled by someone who I had asked to help. Then I applied again and I did it all by myself and I was accepted. I was so happy. Yay, I'm getting in. A week later, I was drinking coffee. I was nauseous.
And you said, oh.